A key government organizations in Nigeria's non-oil export value chain seems to be making some progress, going at least by comments made at this week's Zenith Bank's International Trade Seminar held here in Lagos. I sat down at the event to a panel of non-oil industry executives and top officials of some agencies who outlined what is being done and other steps that could further enhance the country's non-oil revenue. Let's take a listen.
The first problem is government has abandoned some of these policies. Like in the past when we were growing up, we had cocoa development unit that plants nurseries everywhere in cocoa, areas in Nigeria. That one has stopped. The second one was the well-thought anchor borrower scheme of CBN, wonderful, but badly implemented. And we complained that, look, this money should have been given to commercial banks to manage. And the third one is the commercial banks. West Zenith Bank is one of them. We have a problem that all Nigerian banks, commercial banks, are now cash centers instead of investing in long-term programs, policies that will bring up this backward integration. Without backward integration, we are not likely to get anywhere. Because we now find out that in 1970, cocoa production in Nigeria was 570,000 tons. Today is between 250 and 300,000 tons. Compared with Ivory Coast, in 2010, the production in Ivory Coast was 1,100,000 tons. Today, Ivory Coast produces 2.3 million tons. So we have a problem, and it was a deliberate attempt by the government, the banks, and regulatory authorities to see that they can take their production to the level they have. I think that is where the banks recently at RT200, the banks were asking for incentives from the CBN, from everybody. They've forgotten that the first incentive is within themselves. How? Most of the loans that are bad are because the staffs are not properly motivated. That's where the issue is. If the banker knows that he has a future in what he's doing, there's no likelihood of collaboration with people. You saw what happened to the Anchor Braski. All the money gone. They said it was the farmers. That is not true. Farmers pay back their loan. The problem is some of the people, they were not well incentivized, and they collaborated with people to take it off. If banks can have a system where their bankers have a future, when they are leaving the bank, they have a future, they can do some things, there's not likely to be so much of the, and that is where the incentives should start from.
The first thing we did was to ensure that we created a one-stop shop whereby it removes all delay. This leads to rejection and return of our cargo. By doing that, we have eliminated rejection and return of our cargo to the barest minimum. We have also reduced the cost of doing the export business itself. We have also reduced intervention by other agencies. We have also reduced multiple checks. There was a time even allies were extorting money from exporters. Before the establishment of Lillipond Export, there were cases of pilfering of containers. The exporters can testify. Their container can be opened. Some sacks of cocoa can be removed. We have handled that with the help of Nigerian Port Authority, because if we release our consignment, NPA have dedicated routes whereby this consignment can follow up to the port. So these are some of the achievements that we are able to do. Another thing is all our custom procedures is automated, from the NSP to CCI to release to the interface to the shipping line, so that the shipping line will be able to know this particular consignment has been released by customs, therefore it's good to go directly to the awaiting vessel. So these are some of the achievements we're able to do.
What we first of all did was to sit back and study what is the problem. The Nigerian Ports Authority's responsibility is to handle the logistics issue as relates to delivery of cargo to the port, receiving that cargo, and also ensuring that it is loaded to vessels for voyage. And we realized that if we do not take active actions and deliberate actions, the delays will continue. And so therefore we decided, what do? We encourage the terminal operators to create hinterland aggregation points and also dedicated spaces for exports within the port terminals. But also we need to realize that the ports are very small in size, and therefore there is capacity issues. So what we did was to create export processing terminals. And the export processing terminals, like I said, are supposed to be one-stop shops where you consolidate, you test it, you weigh it, you brand it, you pack it, and then go straight into the ports. What the customs did for us was to create an export command. That means there are individuals responsible for all problems related to export that you can relate with. And our efforts have actually shown that we are yielding results. Because in 2018, we had about, 2019, the ports registered about 2.8 million metric tons of export. And by 2020, it was 3.8. By 2021, it was 3.79. And by 2022, there is a leap of over 5.1 million metric tons. And half year now, we've already recorded about 3.4, 3.5 million metric tons. And don't forget that shipping activity actually peaks from the middle of the year to the end of the year. So you can predict that we are going to exceed what was achieved last year. It might not be much in figures, in dollars or whatever it is, but you can see the quantum of exports taking place. So that collaboration with them has actually helped. And the same thing with Nigerian Export Promotion Council. They have dues in the hinterland. We have a truck call-up system that we have created to ensure that only trucks that are ready to either load or offload come into the ports. So what we did was to try to get them to use our platform, and when they have finished packaging, they log into ETO, and then the cargo comes in straight to the ports for voyage.
If you see the one slide where he has shown that all the regions in the Nigeria, they have the minerals, except South. So only I can understand, or I can see that the minerals only can eliminate the non-oil sectors. And the problems, the challenge, what we are facing now is a lot. Like that the minerals is not available in the town or control the cities or close to the city. It is the far away from the city, where we don't have the proper infrastructure, proper security and safety. And a few days I think the few months ago, I heard that there is the police is not going to support you on the private sectors or any securities or something. So that is the main reasons only the 15% of the peoples are investing in the minerals in Nigeria. Whereas the minerals in the Nigeria is the huge, in all the sectors they have it. So that is the main problem we have it. Then hostile host community, that is creating the problems, attacking peoples. Then third one is we have the problems with the capacity building of our Nigerian colleagues. We are more dependent on the expatriates, while it is coming for the machineries and everything. It's fully opposite. Third one is the R&D. If you want to export your minerals, you need to depend on your international partner.
But there are 3 points of value erosion which have happened over the years. One is the crop. Now, while our neighbors in Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana have kept on replanting, as Alaji would validate, we in Nigeria have kept pace, but not at the same rate. We are slightly behind. But I'm sure in the medium term, we will be catching up in terms of the quality of the crop that we have, and hence the yields. That is one point of value erosion. The second point of value erosion which happens is we export. We are at par with the rest of the countries in terms of value generated in terms of dollars or forex. However, what happens more often than not, in the process of import substitution, a lot of the players or exporters are creating value and adding up processing units. So import of these processing units cost money, and some part of it gets offset at the origination, or let's say the exporting country into Nigeria. The third point, Nigeria is the largest. Let's be proud of it. We are the largest economy and we stand here proudly. Yet, there are countries around us who get distinct benefits in terms of destination countries giving them export subsidies, or let's say duty subsidies from LDCs. Why can't we get it?
And talking about funds, who get funds and what? No one can get any fund except you actually export. Like I said, you must engage in formal export, your goods reach, and you repatriate your proceeds. And this goes through the central bank and the various commercial banks. You must have an NXP. The NXP must be issued by a commercial bank, by a bank, and is processed, and your export proceeds repatriated before you enjoy any subsidy or incentive, including the RT 200 by the central bank.